Welcome students. I am Mr. Simanchal Pandit, going to start the class for industrial pharmacy topic pharmaceutical tablet. The class in which I will explain about different quality control tests. In the last class we have discussed about other parameters for testing of pharmaceutical tablet. Today we will discuss about tablet disintegration. There are different mechanisms by which the tablet get inside the GIT and it disintegrate into different part. So in order to get the drug to release and to give action in our body, the drug has to come out from the dosage form and it has to be get soluble in the body fluid. So whenever the drug is getting contact with the GIT, the dosage form, the tablet has to break down into small fragment, and the breaking down from the big solid dosage form, that is the tablet, into small fragment is known as disintegration. The time required to break down from the tablet to small part is known as disintegration, and from that the drug has to release slowly and it has to come to bloodstream. So in vitro we have to go for different analysis that has to be related to release order of the drug. The amount of drug that is coming from the dosage form to the systemic circulation is known as bioavailability. So the dissolution also related to the amount of drug that is absorbed to the blood. So it has been made designed in such a way that will be correlate external experiment that will be correlated as the in vivo. So there are two instruments are given here. First one is known as the disintegration test apparatus. Second one is known as the dissolution test apparatus. In the disintegration test apparatus, the motor is attached with a up to and fro moving equipment in which the basket is present, in which there are 6 different tubes are present, and those are closed by a mace. The below is closed by 10 mace sieve, and inside that we have to place the tablet that will undergo the disintegration test. Here it has to be attached with a beaker. Inside the beaker, the temperature is maintained 37 degrees centigrade, and it has to move up and down, to and fro movement it has to undergo. So the temperature is made 37 at plus minus 2 degrees centigrade. That is the equivalent to our body temperature, and whenever the tablets are placed inside, that downside it is closed with the mace, and the tablet has to be placed inside, and up and above that we have to place one bottom that can make some pressure. Whenever it is moving to and fro, that will give some pressure, so that will be equivalent to our GIT, peristaltic movement. So due to that, the tablet has to move from up and down, and the time required to break the tablet and that has to cross the 10 mace sieve, that is known as the disintegration time. The simple thing, we have to take a beaker. This basket is attached with a motor. It will move to and fro. Inside that 10 mace sieve is present. That bottom of this tube, we can get 10 mace sieve. The tablet has to be present. It has to move up and down. It has to be closed with a tablet one is the bottom that can move up and down, plastic bottom. So it will give some pressure to break into small pieces and fragment. Slowly it will come out and it will go for the breaking of the particles. So the time required to break is known as the disintegration time. So it is quite equivalent whenever we are taking any kind of tablet that is getting contact with the GIT, and due to peristaltic movement it will start to break from the big tablet into small fragment, that is known as the disintegration time. So the rate of disintegration also depend upon the amount of binder that is present, and along with there is some excipient that will make the tablet to break. Those are used. So the combination or the ratio of both ingredient determine the rate of breaking of the tablet. So the tablet, more it is hard, the disintegration time also that will vary. If that is a mouth dissolving tablet, the disintegration time is fast. If that is the sustained release tablet, the disintegration time is more. Similarly, for dissolution test, that means from the bigger particle coming to the bloodstream, the amount of drug that is coming to bloodstream, that has to be experimented in the in vivo test. Here the 1, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There is a 7-station dissolution test apparatus in which one unit consists of a basket which is maintained a temperature of 37 plus minus 0.5 degree centigrade, sometimes 37 plus minus 1 degree centigrade, and it is filled with the biological fluid in which area the drug has to be get dissolved, and it is attached with this is known as the pedal type of rotator. That may be different type of USP test apparatus depending upon the USP. It may be tablet, that may be pedal type, or it may be basket type. Whenever we are taking any kind of tablet, that will rotate, and whenever this is going for the rotation, the drug will release slowly, and the drug has to be pipetted out, and that will be that we can calculate its absorbance and the time it will take at the different time interval. For example, we have to take a graph between x and y. X-axis is nothing but the time, and y-axis is the amount of absorbed drug. So at regular time interval, this will rotate at a particular speed that will be equivalent to our peristaltic movement, and the temperature maintained in the body fluid equivalent is 37 degrees centigrade. At different time interval, from the 0 time interval, we have to take at 15 minute gap. For example, 0, 15, 30, 45, 60, like that one. 1 hour 15 minutes we will go for the time graph, and along with the how much drug is absorbed, that can be noted by the UV absorbance spectrophotometer, and we can note it down and we can place in the graph. We can see that initially the drug release will be slow. At a particular time it will increase, and it will attain the steady state plasma concentration. It will remain constant for a long time, and when we can see that the drug is getting amount is less, we will get the bell type of shape of equivalent type of graph. So from that we can determine how much amount of drug to be absorbed in the body. So this is the USP test apparatus. It may be paddle type or it may be basket type depending upon the nature of this baffle. So we discussed earlier about the hardness, friability, and today we are discussing about the tablet disintegration and dissolution. The simple thing is that whenever we are taking any kind of dosage form, if that is a tablet, it will get contact with the stomach. It is having the fluid. The body fluid contact will get disintegration of tablet. The tablet will break into small fragment from its bigger dosage form, and once it is getting disintegrated, it will slowly dissolve and it will make the smallest fragment which is ready for the absorbance, and this process is known as the dissolution. Simple thing, tablet is a dosage form and it is to break down into smaller fragment. It is known as disintegration, and from that small fragment the drug will get released and it will become the fine fragment that will be absorbed to our blood, that is known as the dissolution. So in the tablet dissolution, the solid dosage form is important for a number of reasons as guide for the formulation of product development towards product optimization. Secondly, it will allow differentiation between the formulation and correlation identified with in vivo bioavailability data. As I told, the drug is absorbed in the body is direct, that is the bioavailability. Directly it will depend upon the formulation and the amount of drug that is released to our body fluid. The consistent in vitro dissolution testing ensure bioequivalence from batch to batch. The dissolution also depend upon the various parameter that may be different phase 1, 2, 3 and 4 different type of drug solubility. There are different type of drugs depend upon the solubility and permeability. Depending upon the PCS classification, it may be type 1, type 2, type 3 or type 4. The type 1 is high solubility and high permeability. Type 2 is low solubility and high permeability. Third one is the high solubility and low permeability, and fourth one is the low solubility and low permeability. Previously I just discussed about different type of granulation method. During that we can go for the wet granulation, we can go for the dry granulation, we can go for the direct compression. Wet granulation is nothing but if we are preparing the drug and formulation with the granulation, and this is one of the technique which is used widely. This is one of the popular method. In that we are using the binder solution and we are using the ingredient water that has to make form into the granules. Weight massing, addition of binder solution granulation solvent. We have to go for the staining of weight mass. We have to go for the dry weight granule. Then we have to go for the screening. Then we have to go for the blending, and we can go for the compression of tablet. But in case of dry granulation, because sometimes the drugs are not stable at different moisture level, or it will go for the hydration oxidation in presence of water, so at the time we cannot use water as the for the granulation. At the time we have to prefer the dry granulation. In that we have to go for the milling, we have to go for the size reduction, we have to add, we have to mix it, then we have to go for the compression of the slug, then it will go for the compaction, and it will go for the screening of the slug to get the compacted powder that has to mix with the disintegrant and the lubricant, and it has to go for the compression of tablet. In case of direct compression, directly we have to add a different type of the ingredient, we have to mix it by milling, then it will be directly go for the compression. So these are the three popular methods. First one is the wet granulation, which is widely used, and if water cannot be used, we have to go for the dry granulation. In that the tablet compression has to be will have the binder will have the self compression property. In the direct compression we have to add simply, and we have to go for the compression of tablet. So these are the different methods. This is mentioned in the diagram. For the wet granulation process, we are taking the drug along with the different ingredients. We have to go for the grinding, then we have to go for the blending it properly. We have to take the adjuvant there, different other ingredient, whatever we are taking, disintegrant, that binder, excipient, diluent, everything we have to take. Then we have to add the water or any liquid used for the wet granulation method. We have to go for the agglomerate, then it will form the pellet that has to be gone for the drying. Generally fluidized bed dryer is used widely, and after it will form the granule, it has to pass the different screen. So due to the screen they will come close to each other and they will form the granule. Then again it has to go for the blending along with the different lubricant, so that it can flow properly from the hopper to the die, and it can form the tablet. So it will go for the compression machine, and we are getting the tablet in its form. So this is the equipment. This is known as the granulation machine, which is used in the industries. It is having, this is known as the fluidized bed dryer. That means whenever we are taking different ingredient and we are applying some amount of temperature along with the flow of air, we can see the particle will attract to each other and they will bind in the air. And why it is called as the fluid? Because we know that anything that can flow is known as the fluid. We are taking the solid ingredient, those will be mixed. Whenever these are getting some amount of flow of air, they will just go on flowing along with the velocity of the air. So that's why it behaves as the fluid, and inside that chamber is present. That's why it is known as the fluidized bed dryer. Generally, this technological advances now allow the entire process of the granulation to be completed in a continuous fluid bed process. This one is the example of granulator. So how it will work inside? This is the screen in which we are giving the flow of air with warm air, and it will allow it to move from to and fro movement. We can see here, it will, whenever it is moving to and fro, it will attract the powders, and it will form the granules in the air. As it is moving, due to the velocity, it will start to rotate, and due to the rotation, that attractive forces will be generated and the powder will come close to each other and it will form the granules. To get the desired side of the granules, we can, in order to avoid the lumping, we can use certain blades, so that in order to avoid some amount formation of lump, it will make it break down into different pieces. Then after, it has to go for the staining for the processes of this granules. So that there are different stages of the compression. We can see here the tablet, whenever we are preparing, this is the lower punch, this is the upper punch. In the first term, these are having some amount of porous layer. We can get some amount of vacuums are present here. Whenever these are getting compressed, we can see that they come close to each other, they will form, they will compact to each other, and there is different type of force. Those are here, that may be plastic force or it may be elastic force, and due to the plastic force deformation, it will get into the proper shape, and if that will exceed, sometimes there is chances of cracking of the punches. So we have to use the plastic materials to be get compressed, and we have to study thoroughly about the powder's different parameters. So for different solid dosage form processing, there are different processing steps are there. For we can make the dosage form, then we have to check for the different quality control test. We have to go for the different excipient studies, the particle properties, processing routes, unit operation. Those are used here. Generally, the size reduction that will increase the surface area. Then blending, mix properly. Dry granulation, that is the roll compaction. Weight granulation, the drying, the tablet compacting, and if required, we have to go for the coating process. Here, different type of packaging materials are used. This is the packaging machines which are used for the tablet packaging. There are different type of the packaging widely used. We can see here. This is the blister packaging. That may be strip packaging. That may be alu packaging. That may be bottle packaging. The pharmaceutical manufacturer have to pack their medicine before they can send for the distribution. The type of packaging will depend on the formulation of the medicine. That may be blister pack or a common form of packaging used for a wide variety of product. They are safe and easy to use, and they allow the consumer to see the content without opening the pack. There are different type of packaging, that may be primary packaging, secondary packaging, or tertiary packaging. The primary packaging is the material that first envelop the product and hold it. It usually smallest unit of distribution or use, and it package which is in direct contact with the content. The secondary package is nothing but the outside the primary packaging, perhaps used to group primary package together. The tertiary packaging is used for the bulk handling, warehouse storage, and transport shipping. The most common form is palletized unit load packed tightly into the different containers. This one is blister packaging. We can see here the upside we are having the plastic that is visible, and below there is aluminum foil is packaged. Inside that tablet is remained, so that one can see the tablet with a different organoleptic characteristic. The blister packages are commonly used for unit dosage form packaging, generally for the tablet and the capsule. The principal component of blister packaging materials that may be forming films. This is the blister, a pocket inside which the product fit. Second one is the backing. The leading foil stick over the back of a blister. Here we can see in the picture. The next one is known as the strip package. We can see here a strip package formed by feeding two waves of hard sealable flexible film through a heat crimped roller. This package is used for both capsule and tablet. The materials used are foil lamination for moisture sensitive product, that may be paper, polythene, cellophane, etc. The next one is known as the alu packing. Alu packaging, we can see that both side is having the aluminium foil. That's why the alu is represented as the aluminium. Alu packaging means the aluminium foil at both upper and lower side of the pack. So alu packaging is similar to that of blister packing. The only difference is that the forming film is formed of aluminum foil instead of plastic material. So today we are completing the chapter of tablet, which we have studied, initiating from different ingredients used, different process used, the different type of tablet machines, how these are equipped, different type of the tooling, different type of process like wet granulation, dry granulation, direct compaction, different quality control test, and finally we have concluded with the packaging materials. So this one is the last packaging method. This is known as the bottle packaging method. This is very common. We can use certain type of capsule or the tablet inside the packaging machine. We can use it, and that can be closed inside the container. Generally, these are used as the coated materials are generally used in order to avoid the in between the contact and the friction due to the transport. So next class we will study about the tablet coating. Thank you.